Good morning, Zero to Pass here with another premium deck profile update, updated Hugo Daio. So just put up a few videos yesterday, um, some matches that I played with this versus my buddy's Bermuda Highlander. And very interesting. Definitely had the additions in the overtriggers in my deck. I have Trabash, which I love. That card, Jamia Congo, New Atomic fans. Um, Works really well in here too. So disclosure at the very beginning here is that the deck will look very similar to a few decks that did very well at Vision Online Tournament. That's to be expected because, as someone else said, the deck builds itself. I would say it kind of builds itself, more or less. Does really kind of do that. So let's just get to the profile. So the first thing that's changed here is that I've got our Dragon Nation Overtrigger in here. Now, Dragon Nation Overtrigger, the extra effect is, well, first of all, the way the overtriggers work, just for those of you who are maybe just getting your stuff and getting into it, and just to remind us all, including myself, because I'm the guy who's going to forget to draw. When you check this, it gets banished, it goes away, and you draw a card. And then if you checked it on a drive check, you get the extra effect. The extra effect here is to restand your Vanguard. So it's very Kagero-esque in nature. And yeah, very much so. Screams Kagero. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now, it also acts as a fifth heal. It really just shuts a turn. It just ends a turn, pretty much. Unless your opponent checks the overtrigger themselves, and then you're kind of a little bit back in. But again, when you check this, it goes away, whether or not it's on the drive check or damage check. So on damage check, 6 damage check, you hit this, it goes away. And you're still at 5 damage. So pretty interesting card. I do recommend you watch the videos that we put up. Just speed them up, put them at like 10 times the speed or whatever. You'll see these overtriggers in action, and yeah, pretty scary. So the other thing I've changed is I have increased my crit load with the critical sentinels. I only own 3. However, I may end up just having 2 and 2. So yeah, but I really do like the added crit pressure, and you'll see that in the videos as well. It's actually very relevant. The other thing that changed here is my crits here. All the cards this way are vanillas. They have no ability. You do not need stride, the critical stride fodders. You really don't need any of that in here. The GB1 into Soul draw card, yeah, it's nice, but we have a grade 1 in here that we've added, which can be fairly useful. So Zazan, just cut to the chase. So, and of course 20k heals forevermore. So those are the triggers. And let's move on to grade 1s. So, of course, we're running Guam. It's an aggro deck. I want to force my opponent to be aggro. This really didn't pop off last night. It typically does, but it just didn't last night. So, was it relevant? Not last night. Yeah. I know a lot of people are upset about this card. There are arguments, and I get it. Being able to deny your opponent, it's an option for you, and this card basically takes that option away. This forces you to have to attack Vanguards, and some people really don't like that because their ability to set up to win requires damage denying. Other people's abilities to set up to win require counterblasts. So there actually is a counter argument to this. Is Bushiro going to hit this? I don't know. As we start seeing more events, the BCF, for example, and we see what happens, we'll see what Bushiroad responds with. So, but I get it. Believe me, I totally get it. However, I'm just throwing out the counter argument there that, yeah, for some decks to set up to win, they need to damage deny the opponent so that the opponent doesn't fire off while they can do it without damage. or just the 1 damage, or however they do it, Bobo, something like that. And then other decks, you know, we need counterblast. So I understand this is basically shutting off your opponent being able to tempo you with damage denying you, you know, tempoing you out. So, but then this forces tempoing in the other way. So, just some thoughts there. If I get dislikes, it's fine. It's, you know, it's what it is. I do like hearing from you guys what you don't like, though. I appreciate it. We've got our HYU-GA searcher, basically. It's a grade 3 searcher. You can get any grade 3, but that's pretty much what I use it for. And if you have at least 5 cards with the same name in play, which HYU-GA makes everything HYU-GA, then this gets plus 5 to become a 13k beater or booster. I do have our 15k shield Cray in here, more vanilla card, and then Zazan. You can go get Zazan with HYU-GA. Why not run it? You know, it's another way of being able to use another card in our G zone, Cyclone, to make columns even larger while doing Mimaru and Hyaki and things like that. So these are the grade 1s. Move on to the grade 2s. So yeah, sorry I kind of belabored the point here, but I see I see both arguments. I see both sides. This is our grade 2, very tiny, 3k, but has 2 base critical and is also a vanilla. Very useful card, very good for pressuring. Yeah, I run Bobo. Yeah, you're going to damage deny me? Bobo. The problem with this deck is it wants a counterblast so that you can make everything HYU-GA. But Bobo's definitely got his place in here. Miyamaru, I continue to run Miyamaru at 3. Really don't expect to have to go hunt down Miyamaru more than once or twice a game. And so, yeah, 3 is perfectly fine. And then I have, I put this back in, Center Arrestor. I think I took it out at one point, but it's a 2. Case of damage deny, definitely another good search target to put behind your Vanguard so you get that extra swing in. So those are the grade 1s and grade 2s. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. For some of you, it's already the evening. Grade 3s. HYU-GA. So the way HYU-GA works is you counterblast 1. You can go get a card out of your deck equal to it has to be a value that your opponent has in play of a grade. So if they only have grade 1 in play, well, that's not going to happen because they're on a grade 3, right? So, but if they're only on grade 3, which happen, and which can happen, you can only get a grade 3 if all they have is in play grade 3s. If they have grade 3s and grade 1s, you can only get grade 3s and grade 1s. But you counterblast 1, you go get that card, you call it, everything becomes HYU-GA. The other ability is to Soul Blast a grade 3 to spin your opponent's table. They have to take their cards in play, all the rear guards, and shuffle them back in their deck. So it swells their deck back up. If they're trying to compress, which is definitely something you want to try to do, it's going to decompress. So it's pretty cool, and it's going to remove a lot of problems off the table very quickly. And again, you're going to want to go into Excel too. Hyaki Vogue. Hyaki Vogue, he is a act, counterblast 1 on Vanguard rearguard. So amazing that it's also rearguard. You can pitch a card, counterblast 1. Remember the counterblast, right? That's to myself. And go get a copy of him. And then you put that card up to 1 copy of him. And then all cards with the same name as this, which has got HYU-GA, everything gets plus 10. So the entire board gets plus 10. That's why this exists. Yes, you can go get one, but it doesn't have the HYU-GA name. If you were to put that card in play, you may want to do that. It's up to you. But yeah, let's see here. It's HYU-GA. Yeah. The same card name as the unit. Yep. So this actually says change the card name. It's not just give the card name. So little subtleties like that you got to be careful about. So I always like to reread my cards. And then the last card we have here, which is pretty cool, Trabash. Trabash says, when your Vanguard attacks, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, jam him into soul and give your Vanguard an extra critical. So you can imagine when you go onto Nue Daio, not only was it bad enough that your opponent's having to call 5 cards at least from hand, but now they're going to have to worry about having that extra damage. Instead of just taking the first damage, say they're at 4. They're 4 damage. Just take, no, it's 2 damage. It's lethal. So this adds pressure. And not only that, you do this, and then you check the over trigger. Man, 4 critical. Yeah, so those are the grade 3s. That's it. Very different, right? In that regard. So there's that. And now to the G zone. So I'm running 3 Nue Daio. So let's read Nue Daio together. Act, G zone. If you have 5 or more units with the same card name from your and your Vanguard is a grade 3, which you will because you're going to use HYU-GA to make everything HYU-GA, all you have to do is Soul Blast 1, stride this card from your onto your V from the G zone, from face down. And for the battles this unit attacked until end of turn, your opponent can only call cards from his or her hand to G, must call 5 or more cards at the same time. Yeah. Auto, Vanguard. When it attacks, turn a card from your G zone face up and stand all your rear guards with the same name as one of your rear guards. So all your HYU-GAs, right? So I run 3. Typically, you just need to go into 1, 2, maybe, especially since things are now getting real spicy with the over triggers. The G zone honestly could be really tiny, but of course we fill it and play with cards because, well, why not? I run 4 of this. You're going to flip over these when you have to flip over a card using his ability so that you can make your vanillas bigger. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? And I got 3 of these. I got 3 of these. I have an extra one here. We have a little guy in the deck, Zazan, right? We don't really talk about Zazan. Vanguard, rear guard, when placed, Soul Blast 1, call up to 2 units that don't have any abilities from your hand to rear guard circles. If you call 2, turn up to 1 face down Stormed Elemental Cyclone from your G zone face up and draw 2 cards. So, not like you didn't know what Zazan did, but just to review. So yeah, Zarzan is also going to be able to flip this. So I have one of this card in here. This has to be flipped up really to be relevant, in my opinion, for that one ability that's going to be relevant, which is basically if one of your rear guards doesn't hit, you can then call this from your G zone to a rear guard circle. Yeah, it's interesting. So I run it. 2 cards, probably not even more irrelevant. Gilgal. You really don't need the not stride part of that because this doesn't require you to pay costs of striding other than soul blasting and having all those cards name something HYU-GA. And so I have the Gilgal in here, and I have a Drachma in here as well. If you're having to hit the Drachma button, yikes, there's something wrong going on. But they're in here. They look cool. They're shiny. Okay. I've got Dismal in here at 1. I like Dismal. I've got a Gleam. I like a Gleam. It's why it's in here. And then we've got 2 of our Flipper. So the way she works is GB1, Counterblast 1, choose face down, Guardian, flip it up. When this unit is placed on G, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Vanguard, and until the end of turn, it gets auto. When a grade 3 or less is retired from the Guardian Circle, you may return that card to the bottom of your deck, and this unit gets plus 10. So it gets bigger, which is pretty cool. And so then the next one we have, him. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your grade 1 or greater rear guards. Search your deck for up to 1 card with the same name as the chosen unit. Call it to the Guardian Circle, shuffle your deck, and until the end of that battle, that unit gets auto. When this unit is put into the drop zone from the Guardian Circle, put this card on the bottom of your deck. So kind of cool. You don't really lose anything from it. And then lastly, we're running one copy of her. When placed on Guardian Circle during the battle that your Vanguard was attacked by your opponent's Vanguard, choose up to one of your rear guards, move it to the Guardian Circle, and that unit gets plus 5k until end of that battle for shield. Search your deck for up to one card with the same card name as that unit, call it to the Guardian Circle, and shuffle your deck. Kind of interesting. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. And so this is kind of cool. This is actually really cool with something like that, right? 20 and then get another one. So add 35. Yeah, pretty cool. So she's okay. I like that. Probably one of the better ones, but I just have the one. So I went more up on the G Guardians just because I had room. This is really where the money is right here. Is Nue Daio and Cyclone. So yeah, that's it. It's really, again, it's pretty straightforward as a deck, and so it's just a matter of playing it, reading your cards. That's to me, and just feeling comfortable. When you should just really steamroll or hold back. As you'll see in the videos, I pretty much decided last night in playing that I was just going to go ahead and just rush, starting with as soon as I could, pretty much. Yeah. One of the cards that this deck really hates is Honolly. So if you don't like Honolly, recommend teching this in. Maybe just at 1. You could tech in 2. This is something that I did previously. And so you'll notice if you go back and watch my Murakumo premium deck profile from I don't know, a year ago, last summer something, that at one point I had these in here. So, but if you don't like Honolly, this is definitely an answer. They have Honolly in play. Your first swing is, okay, bye Honolly. We don't like you being on the table. And then go from there. So that's really the only change that I would make. That could be somewhat difficult to make because it's hard to really figure out what I would take out. But the other thing too there is I may split the PG draws, put in another PG draw. But again, I really like the criticals. The 2 decks that went to Vision, and the one that took first actually was all crit Sentinels. The one that got second was PG Sentinel, or the PG draws. Those Sentinels, the draw Sentinels. So I didn't see the match, wasn't there. I'm not really sure what the difference there was in terms of winning. The one that got second was running Tribash. The one that got first was running the trick guy, the grade 1, that allows you. This is an old school card too. That allows you basically to manage it in such a way that you can go get a Dueling Dragon. And so they were running one copy of Dueling Dragon. So then they were running the copy of the Dueling Dragon. I can never remember his name. It's not Zangeki, Zangetsu. It's like Zantethu or something like that. I forget the exact name. It's the double R, if I'm not mistaken. And what you do is use the grade 1 to go get that, and then you use that to go get Center Arresters. It's actually pretty cool. It's a little bit of a superior call chain from the deck, and I think it's really neat. So again, I'm not really sure what swung it in whose favor, but yeah, Zarzan was definitely in the mix. So I hope you like the deck profile. If you have any other changes, if there's any other overdressed cards I should be really honestly considering in here, let me know. Or if there are any other combos, like what I just kind of mentioned there, that it's called Trick Arts. Trick Arts is the grade 1 Murakumo from way back when. So yeah, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you got some Vanguard in. If you guys are still earlier in the day as I am, I hope you get some more in, and stay safe, fam. Until next time, peace.